I've been burned out so many times that I cannot count. Waking up in the morning being tired, being stressed and overwhelmed at work, only talking and thinking about work the entire day, and then at night, in the middle of the night, waking up with panic attacks. That was me so many times. I remember myself that in those moments I only wish to have a magic wand that I can use to remove all the stress and overwhelm that I was going through at work, but I didn't have one. A few years ago I started to read a lot about stress and overwhelm at work. I joined multiple online events and in-person events trying to learn from top experts to understand myself better and see what I can do to reduce the stress in the workplace. And from everything that I learned, there was a common ground, which was patterns. If you are constantly stressed or overwhelmed at work, it might be due to some patterns that you have that don't serve you. In this video, I'm gonna talk about 3 concepts that will help you to recognize those patterns that create stress at work and replace them with new ones so you have more time and energy to do the things that you'll always wanted to do. And the first one, it is the inside out concept. The conversations that we have in our head drives the actions that we take. I got inspired from Inside Out movie, which is one of my favorite movies. This movie, it is about an 11 years old girl, and she is always happy and she has a lot of friends and she enjoys playing hockey until one day when her parents decides to move to San Francisco. When she gets the news, her world goes upside down, and from being that happy and joyful girl, she suddenly is sad and angry and disgusted about everything that happens around her. Because in that moment she started to have all those thoughts that she's gonna lose all her friends, her life will not be the same, she'll not be able to enjoy things, and all the comfort that she had, she will not be able to have it anymore. And the same thing happens in the workplace as well. If you have a bad day or something happens and you start having negative thoughts and you give a negative meaning to that situation, the meaning and thoughts that you have influences a lot the emotions that you have, which drives the actions that you take. And unfortunately, this type of emotions and the state that you experience at work for a longer period of time, you take it with you at home and you continue being in that state with your friends or beloved ones. And I remember myself being in that situation so many times after finishing my work, going to my spouse and continue talking about work at night, thinking about work, waking up with panic attacks, and the next day started over and over and over. And I was going in this loop where the only thing that I knew was work. If you haven't watched Inside Out, I don't want to give you too many spoilers. One thing that I want to mention is that once Rayleigh started to have different thoughts about the new experience, she started to feel joyful again and accept that this is going to be her new reality and she has the power to make it be fun again. The society teaches us to find the work-life balance, to be happy all the time, at work to do only the things that we enjoy doing. And then when we start experiencing other emotions than joy for a longer period of time, then we consider that our life doesn't have any meaning. The reality is that knowing how to treat difficult moments as temporary challenges and challenge yourself to focus on finding a solution rather than focusing on the problem, you will start enjoying life and work more. The second concept is the Parkinson law, and it says that the amount of time you allocate to do something will be the amount of time that you will spend to complete that thing. In other words, if you have a task at work and you have only one day to complete that task, you will start deprioritizing, delegating, and finding time to focus only on that task because you have to complete it in one day. On the other hand, if you have the same task but you have 1 week to complete it, you'll find other things to do and maybe postpone it until the very end to complete that task. My own interpretation of this law is don't give yourself space to procrastinate. If you have something at work that is very important, find time to complete that thing first, and then if you have time left, then you can take care of the other things that you had on your list. On the same note, if you know that you have a task that you can complete sooner than it was estimated, focus your attention on completing the task, and then the remaining time you can allocate it to do other things or even take care of yourself. At the end of the day, it is not about the amount of work that you complete, it is about making sure that you move in the right direction. By limiting your time to complete the work, you'll start focusing on finding solutions and you'll start noticing what are other things that you have on your list that might not be so important and they are not benefiting you to complete this work. The third concept is the 80-20 rule, and it says that 80% of the results that we have are based on 20% of the actions that we take. The analogy that I have for this rule is, imagine that you have a wardrobe full of clothes and you recently purchased some new clothes and you found space to put those new clothes in the wardrobe. And even though you have a bunch of clothes, you start wearing only the new clothes because these clothes are making you to feel good and confident and sexy, and you are wearing those new clothes every single day. Now, if someone comes and takes the other clothes from your wardrobe, probably you will not even notice because you will continue wearing the new clothes. And by looking at this rule from this perspective and thinking about the workplace, we tend to have a bunch of items on our list and we consider that we have to complete all of them to be productive or to prove our worth. Where on the contrary, if we know to focus only on 20% of the items that we have on the list, they can generate the 80% of the result that we are looking for. I know that there are so many tools and methods that you can use to find the most important tasks to focus on, but I'd like to challenge yourself a bit and try to forget about all the online tools that you currently use to track your work. Instead, I invite you to take a sticky note or a piece of paper and start writing down every single day all the tasks that you know that can generate 80% of the results that you are looking for. And the reason why I prefer this type of method, using a sticky note or a piece of paper instead of using an online tool, is that an online tool gives you an infinite number of rows and you can start getting overwhelmed by the amount of work that you consider that you have to complete. If you have a sticky note, this is even better, but if you don't have one and you only have a big piece of paper, I recommend to fold it 4 times or 6 times until it becomes very small, so it doesn't give you a lot of space to write down the tasks that you want to focus on. Once you have a small piece of paper, start writing down the most important tasks that you need to complete today. Ideally is to have between 1 or 2 tasks that you 100% focus on completing them. One extra tip that I have here is that once you have that list, try to estimate it and block time in your calendar to make sure that you have dedicated time to complete these tasks. By blocking time in your calendar, you set boundaries to focus on the things that are important to you. And if setting boundaries is something that is uncomfortable or new to you, I have another video that I recommend watching after this one, where I'm talking about how to set boundaries and protect your personal space in the workplace. By having a handful of tasks on your to-do list every single day, you'll notice that you'll start working less and be able to produce the same level of results, if not even better. Your stress is gonna drop a lot, and when you go home to your friends and family, you'll start having more energy and be able to be present and connected with them. All these 3 concepts are great tools to recognize patterns that create stress at work, so you can replace those with new ones to have more energy and time for the things that are important to you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.